Hello everybody, my little goblins and goblets. We are here with another spicy deck, and this time we're bringing our ways all the way to the realm of Dogmatika. So, what is the premise of this deck? If you know Dogmatika, it revolves around shutting down the extra deck, and a lot of the cards have added effects if there's an extra deck monster on the field. So, Dogmatika Ecclesia. If there's an extra deck monster in the field, you can special summon it. Same thing with Floateries. But Floateries also has a secondary effect. If another Dogmatika monster is on the field with it, it can negate a face-up monster on the field until the end of the turn. Now, the really strong thing about this is non-targeting. And finally, we are Dogmatika Maximus, which is a very good card in this deck, which you banish a fusion, synchro, exe, or link monster from your graveyard, special summon it, and during your main phase, you can activate this effect, send 2 monsters with different names from your extra deck to the graveyard, and your opponent does the same. Now, this could backfire if your opponent is playing branded, because only for the fact that when you do this, your opponent will most likely, if they didn't have branded fusion in their opening hand, they're 100% going to have it now, since they will be able to send their Albion to the graveyard. Now, why is that important for us? Well, we have Elder Entity Natis, which we have 3 of, which when this card's sent to the graveyard, we can pop a card on the field, any card. Fossil Warrior Skull Knight can pop any card. And then we have Fossil Machine Skullwagon that can pop a spell and trap. By the way, Skull Knight can't pop any card. It's only monsters. I don't know why I said that. So, Titanic Clad, the Ash Dragon. If you guys have more than one of this, I would suggest playing more than one of these in the deck. Because this card's going to be very, very useful. For 2 different facts. For one fact, one of our ritual spells lets us use 1 monster from the extra deck to send to the graveyard. And our White Knight of Dogmatika is a level 8, so the level 8s coincide. And this will let you search for your Ecclesia end step, and Ecclesia can search for Floateries, so you have an extra negate. The other card we have, Herald of the Arclight. I mean, did you expect us not to have it if we're playing Diviner of the Herald? And also, since we're sending cards to the graveyard, it lets us get our ritual cards much easier. And we have a Baron de Fleur, which might sound like an odd choice. But for some reason, if we have a Dogmatika Maximus or a Floateries on the field and we normal summon a Diviner, both of those together will let us go into a Baron. So that's the only reason why that's in the extra deck. The Salamangreat Almirage is there to actually link summon against. So when we normal summon Diviner of the Herald, we can link summon, so it makes our Floateries live, because if your opponent does not have a extra deck monster on the field, you're not going to be able to special summon this from hand. So Almirage will allow you to special summon it from hand. And then you can also go from Almirage into Garden Up, so you have an extra deck monster in the graveyard in case you need to use that for fodder for one of our ritual spells, or we need to use it for Maximus, and Secure Gardener makes it so you're at least not going to die the turn you play it. That all being said, I do think Almirage is still a good card to leave on the field, just in case your opponent is playing any type of board wipes. We know Regeki is going to 2, so we might end up seeing more of that. So, take it as you will. But the whole deck's purpose is you want to, if you're going first, you want to Secret Village your opponent and possibly get Ecclesia or ideally get White Knight of Dogmatika on the field and special summon Ecclesia off of the Titan Clad, and then Ecclesia will grab the Floateries. So we have interaction with our opponent, because when our opponent activates an effect on his turn, or their turn, I want to be inclusive, the White Knight of Dogmatika will allow us to send a card from our extra deck to the graveyard, so we can pop a card with Elder Entity, and we get to send a card from our opponent's deck, extra deck, to the graveyard. And the great thing about this is we get to pick, which is a huge added benefit to the deck. But yeah, so that's kind of what the whole ideal of the deck. Pretty excited to play it and see how it goes. So the games are done in Diamond. Remember, if you guys have not subscribed, please consider subscribing. It helps me a ton. And also join our Discord. Our Discord's popping. What are you doing? We're also going to try and do weekly tournaments. So that's something to look forward to. Welcome to game number 1. Our hand is actual poopy, but it's all right. We have an imperm at least that we can interact with our opponent. Our opponent's going to be open up with a magical mallet. Set 2. Kind of iffy. I'm already thinking it's some type of burn strategy. So we're going to play Diviner. And Diviner's actually a pretty decent draw. We're going to get Gammoed. Cringe. But it is what it is, you know? Shit happens. The good thing is we have the pre-preparation of rites, which will be met by an Ash Blossom, but we're going to be able to call by the Grave the Ash. Hopefully. My luck in this game, I would have got cross out here. I was actually very surprised it did not get cross out designated. These games, you're going to have some funny ones where I'm just so unlucky. You're going to see how my luck fares in the actual, when we play this actual game. So we're going to play Macabre. We're actually sending our Floateries to the graveyard. I'm actually not 100% sure about this play, but I do feel confident that, see, this is the reason why I wanted to play it. So if our opponent does do stuff, now I can pick apart his board. So our opponent ends up called by the Graving or Elder Entity. Kind of annoying. But our opponent's on some type of Phantom Knight's Time Thief strategy, and again, how unlucky is it? This man top decks his probably the best rank 4 that he can get, right? He ends up getting the Time Thief Trap. Now I actually misplay here, so, and this is the thing that's really cool about this deck is really knowing your matchups and knowing how to counter your opponent really helps a lot. So I sent the Raid Raptor, which was a horrible decision because I know he has a Raid Raptor package in this. But since he played the Time Thief, I should have just sent his Time Thief to the graveyard because we only had one in the extra deck. So now he is able to go into Time Thief Redoer, which I'm actually kind of afraid of because he can put this back on top of my deck, which would be devastating. But we have Imperm, so that's fine. He's going to attack. And that's going to be that. He goes into Zeus, and I'm actually, like, kind of afraid of Zeus. But I think he jumped the gun on Zeus's activation here, to be completely honest. So now we're going to be able to Ecclesia, grab our Maximus, and you might be saying, why the fuck you grab Maximus? Because Maximus is insane in this deck. Now I'm going to be able to pick apart our opponent's extra deck. And our opponent is screwed. If they don't know they're screwed, they're pretty boned right now. Because now we have Macabre. So Macabre is insane because you're able to use it from the graveyard. So now I just banished 2 cards from my graveyard. And I'm able to have White Knight on the field. Playing an attack was probably like a fucking misplay. But I don't know if it was in this play. Because this card gets super beefy if your opponent does anything. So we're going to activate that again. Again, we're going to get Arclight to get a white relic. Since we have no way of OTKing our opponent right now, we're actually just going to attack for 3k because it's the same clock regardless. That's the reason why we did that. But yep, that's going to be GG, and let's get to the next one. So remember how I told you we're in Diamond? Well, this is how unlucky I get at this game. My opponent has 0 extra deck. Dude, I'm not even kidding you when 90% of what I play against is, like, Despia, and the other 10% is Sword Soul. So usually this deck would do okay, you know what I mean? You're able to, like, pick apart your opponent's extra deck and stuff. Pretty good. But Dogmatika Maximus, I literally can't use this effect, and I literally can't use this effect because they require your opponent to have an extra deck. But I push on. I get the Floateries at least. And then I see my opponents playing Monarchs. The only Monarch player in Diamond. Fucking absurd. Like this is literally a absolute counter to me. Like, my cards do not work against him. Like, it's an absolute counter to me. And it's just kind of unfortunate. He plays his March on a Monarch. which isn't going to matter. But then he plays Vanity Fiend, and I actually thought, I'm like, okay, well, I'll be able to, if he plays a Monarch, I can counter it with the Floateries and all this other stuff. Nope. Nope, he plays Vanity Fiend, so now you just don't do anything. And I know the deck runs this, but they only run, like, they don't, like, I don't know. I guess they do run 3 of these, huh? Now that I'm thinking about it. And he's also playing Cringe Draco Warrior. Well, we're going to concede that one. Just wanted to show one match so far. How unlucky I am. It's pretty funny. If you watch my stream, you'll see how unlucky I am on a regular basis. Alright, we're here for game number 3, and let's hope we just don't get boned like last game. Well, we're playing against Heroes. I am actually very surprised to see a Heroes player, considering, you know, literally like 90% of the board right now is, not Heroes, it's, what do you call it, Despia. I was surprised he had nothing else over the hero there. And then we get Ash Blossomed ourselves. I'm like, okay, well, it is what it is. And then we play our Ecclesia. And then we get Impermed. I'm like, okay, well, this game's fun. Sure love Diamond. Diamond is fun. Recommend everyone to get here. Real blast. And my hand is a Imperm Ash Blossom Maxi. Real fun on my side, too. And so he droplets here just to get Malicious in the graveyard. So I know it looks like a weird play, but it's not. So I could have Ash Blossomed this, but I decided to just Maxi it. Which is kind of risky, because if he top decked the Called by the Grave, I'd be fucked. But now I'm going to actually start drawing some cards here. We'll actually draw an Imperm, Called, and a Ash Blossom. Wow, this deck is real fucking working real well. I can't really complain considering I put all these cards in the deck. But you kind of have to when you play against people who are all playing the same shit. So, kind of annoying, but it is a necessary evil at this point. We just set 4. We are now a back row deck. Raiden, watch out. He's going to attack. We flip up that punishment. Get punished. Titanclad is going to send out Ecclesia. So we special summon Ecclesia here just because it makes more sense. And we don't want to get... If this was an Imperm set, we don't want to get negated. Alright, but we're going to be able to summon Maximus. He is going to Max C. We actually, I think we Called by the Grave this, yeah. There's no point in saving the Called by the Grave. Because we have Ash and we have double Imperm. It's going to be really hard pressed to really be able to stop it. If we get Maximus on the field, we're going to be able to pop this card anyway. So that's kind of what we're going to do. And then we get Impermed. Wow, this is a real interactive match, isn't it? I guess it is technically interactive because we are interacting with each other's cards. But Ash Blossom, Imperm, Droplet. Let's see on my side. Ash Blossom, Maxi, Ash Blossom, Called by the Grave. The game's so much fun. Woohoo! Hey, it's better than playing against Brandon, though, right? All right, we're here for game number 4, and our opponent, Leonzes, is going to be playing against my... Oh, never mind. Well, I have a Called by for it. I was actually debating whether or not to use a Called by, but then he Imperms me anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. This is a game we play in, by the way. This is the thing that's scary. Anytime you Called by Ash and you have Ash in your hand, you open yourself up to getting branded. And since like 90% of the field is the fucking branded fusion, in some way, it's gonna be rough. It's Dark Magical, then branded fusion. I already knew fucking it was coming because obviously I yelled at myself as I did that play because I was like, he's gonna have fucking branded fusion guaranteed. And lo and behold, it is. I could have at least tried to stop it. Good thing is, Maxi will at least, like, let me draw 2 cards here. Not very good ones, but we drew them. We're going to take 3k here. Pretty fucking devastating. And then he gets Branded Fusion on top of that. And you might be asking, why did he get Branded in red? Branded in red, he's playing Dark Magician. And they don't really run that Brandon Red combo in the Dark Magician pile. So him playing Maxi really kind of fucked me over here. Wait a minute. What? Like, he maxed. I'm a fucking idiot. Why did I not Ash Blossom this? Is there a reason I did not Ash Blossom that? Because I called by the grave. I called grave. Maybe I thought I was under called by the grave still. That's a big fucking blunder, though. Right? That's a huge blunder. That literally just cost me the game, I'm pretty sure. Because now I summon Dogmatika and Ecclesia. See, this is why it's a huge blunder. Let me see. Yeah, no, this was a huge blunder. Oh, wait. No, I'm not an idiot. I'm actually a genius. Never fucking mind. Because I really had no good plays there anyway, because I had no extra deck monsters. I actually, I need to save Ash for Branded Fusion, duh. So now I can Ash the Branded Fusion, which is huge. You probably thought I was going to get called by the grave there. I would not be surprised if I was going to be. So we can play Ecclesia. Again, we get our Dogmatika punishment. Attack him for 15, and then we set. Our opponent plays Secret Village. So here, this tells me if he plays Secret Village, this is 100% the thing to revive a Dark Magician, which is actually super fucking tilting. We attack. He plays Eternal Soul. We maxi into the Eternal Soul because we really have no other plays. Very, very unfortunate here. So he plays Dark Magician. We have to flip Punishment because Punishment is going to, even though it's not going to kill the Dark Magician, the Elder Entities will kill the Eternal Soul. And then Hugh will be locked out of spells. So if he top decks a Branded Fusion, we're Gucci. And we might be able to take the game. Nope, he top decks Magician Rod. So now I'm locked. Literally my only out in this fucking deck now. Like, my only out in this deck is to top deck Maxis. Maxius would be the best top deck. I top deck a Heartbeat's Feather Duster. Can't use it. He top decks another good card, but he whiffs. So, good for me. Let's see what I top deck. Haha! Another card I can't play. Super fun. I literally just need Maxis or bust. Naxus or even an Ash Blossom so I can set. And he ends up just top decking any monster and he kills me. Pretty fucking unlucky if you ask me. But overall, pretty good game though. Alright, we're here for game number 5. And our hand is actually looking okay. We get Ash Blossom, but we opened up Called. So, thank the heavens for that. Man, you know how they ban cards that like are in every deck, like it's a mandatory 3 of in every deck. They end up banning it. Like they did that with Pot of Greed. They did that with Graceful Charity and all this other shit. Like it's kind of crazy to me how they've never. I know Ash prevents a lot of stuff, but Ash staying at 3 and just it's literally Ash and Maxi are like a 3 of in every single deck. There's like literally rarely a deck that does not run 3 of each. It's kind of nuts. So it's like crazy to me. But so we have White Knight of Dogmatika with Flonderies. So here is a fuck up on my part. Again, this is matchup knowledge. Your opponent plays Odd Eye Pet Arc. You should just activate this immediately. Because now he's able to Spiral Flame Strike and pop it. I was hoping he would play this and then I could figure out what I wanted to pop. Just pop this. Just telling you right now, just pop it. He goes into Electromite though, and we have the Imperm, so I think we're good. Not really much you can do here. Ah, man. So, we're going to get hit with 18 fat ones there. Our hand's pretty fucking disturbing, TBH. But we're able to get Maximus. And then we can summon Maximus, activate Maximus effect. Pretty much going for lethal here. Like, you'll see lethal soon enough. You'll figure it out, I guarantee, by the time it gets there. So we get Macabre. And now we just negate the Electromite. There's no reason to, like... No reason to play this last turn, is what I'm saying, to save myself 1,800 damage. Because now we prevent him from drawing something stupid. Because you already know how my luck is. Prevent them from drawing it. So now this card allows me to gain attack. So it's at 3k now, 3,500. Boom, and now we have last like 7,500 on the field. He is donezo. Goodbye, bozo. Hello, welcome back to the recap. And let me just say, if you got this far in the video, please consider subscribing. It's much appreciated. You also join the Discord. We got some cool, wacky stuff going on. Weekly tournaments that we're going to be trying to have. And yeah, and follow my Twitch too. Why not? Let's go into this recap though. So what performed well in this deck? Pretty much I'd say all the cards performed pretty average for the most part. Secret Village was underperforming. I think the only reason why it was underperforming is because I barely fucking drew it. Like, out of all my games, I literally drew it like 4 or 5 games. And it like won me like two or three of the games. Because if you go first and you play Secret Village and your opponent doesn't have an out to it, and they're playing Branded, they just lose the game. So that's pretty nice. White Knight of Dogmatika, card's insane. This is a very fun control deck. I'm going to say that right now. It is a fun control deck. Now, I do have issues with it. I don't know. Let's just talk about some of the issues the deck has. The deck does rely your opponent to be playing extra deck monsters and to actually care about their extra deck. Because if they don't care about their extra deck, a lot of these effects that we have here, they don't really hit as hard. So, like, let's say we're playing against Eldritch. They don't really have an extra deck. They usually play Pot of E or something to get rid of their extra deck because they just use it to draw cards pretty much. So, when you're using something like White Knight of Dogmatika, it doesn't really hit as hard because there's not really much to hit. Unless they're running like a tiny DPE package, but I don't think we're going to be seeing DPE that much. I know I haven't, considering they got rid of Destiny Hero Celestial. So, I mean, the deck performed okay. It was a 60% win rate, so we climbed a little bit, but like, dude, it took a while to climb. Mainly because when you're on the back foot and you're playing against, even if you're, the matchups that are like okay for you, like Branded, which is like an okay matchup for you, if you're on the back foot and you're on the draw and your opponent has like the perfect opener, it feels really bad trying to come back from this. If you're on the play and you don't open up Secret Village, it's, again, doesn't feel very good. Now, is it playable? Like, can you play through it? Yeah, but it's the Branded deck is so good at grinding out games, it makes it very hard to come back when you start losing in card advantage. So I think that's the thing that's really tough with the deck. But other than that, I mean, the deck was like super fun. I think if you're playing in gold or plat, you're gonna have a huge blast with the deck. But once you get to diamond, where all you do is play against tryhards, it's gonna be a little bit less fun. But I think you actually could climb with this deck. It's just gonna be a slow climb. Is it the best Dogmatika version you can play? It's debatable because there's a lot of other Dogmatika strategies that you could be playing that was probably as comparable or better than this. So, like, one to give an idea, like, Dogmatika Shadal might be better than this as a control type deck. Because they have so many reoccurring effects too in Shadals, which helps you grind out games. But I don't know. I like the aspect of sending stuff from my extra deck and getting value from it. Again, was I playing perfect every game? That's another question you got to ask. I don't think so. No, because there's definitely some games where I fumbled because I wasn't sure on how the effect with the Odd Eyes game I played, right, where we won the last one we just seen. I didn't realize that when he... I guess I did realize it. I just didn't think he would have the spiral. So I guess like stuff like that, you have to kind of be aware of. Like, you pretty much, with this deck, you have to really know your fucking matchups. If you don't know your matchups, you're going to have a harder time. If you know your matchups really well, you have an easier time. Simple as that. Now, let's give it a tier list and a ranking system. First, out of 10, what do we rate it? I think it's a 7.5. I don't think it's that bad. I think you could climb in diamond with it. If you can climb in diamond with a deck, it's not that bad. It could be a lot worse. And you got to remember, when I say not that bad, I play a lot of garbage. So take that with a grain of salt. Now, out of a regular tier list, like tier 1, 2, 3, rogue tier, I would probably put this in the tier 3 category. Definitely not close to tier 1. It might even be in the rogue category. It's an okay deck. You know what I mean? You can cheese some opponents out too with the Secret Village. Yeah, it's all right. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, give me a like, a thumbs up. I think that's the same thing. I don't care. Give me both. A thumbs up in the chat, I guess. Let me know what you guys want to see me play next. Bye.